Facebook was just caught selling your data via Messenger to Netflix. Why is that important? Welcome guys, my name is Samuel Arms. I am the political strategist at Cardone Digital Ventures, and today we're going to talk about the impacts of social media and some of the players behind what's really going on. Now, a lot of you have maybe seen that headline that Netflix and Facebook did an in-kind partnership where they were actually sharing data, which obviously nobody likes, and by the way, is an industry norm. But there's something far more nefarious when you kind of dig into some of the weeds, because what's really important here? One, you have to remember that the Obamas are stakeholders in Netflix. You also have to remember that both Reed Hastings, the founder of Netflix, and Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, are big Democratic Party donors. So why does that matter? It matters because as the 2024 election approaches, your user data and what you're saying in your private messages is going to be used for campaign targeting. That is just a fact. We know that social media companies already do that, but Netflix, being a giant film producer, is a great tool for propaganda. Why would they not want some of your messenger data in order to more cater their propaganda towards you? This is ironic because we are currently going through a phase where we are once again trying to ban TikTok, which, to quote Vivek Ramaswamy, we should be banning actions or limiting actions, but not banning companies. If you do not like that your data is being sold to the Chinese Communist Party, then we should ban our tech companies from selling our data to the Chinese Communist Party. But that's not what we're doing. And we're not doing that because we know for a fact that industries and big companies like Facebook and like Google and even Amazon and Apple are closely working with the Chinese and often give up your data. So what's the difference? Why go after TikTok? Because TikTok currently is not under control of any of the US oligarchs. There is no Reed Hastings, there is no Mark Zuckerberg, there is no Obama administration involved in the TikTok machine. Yes, I don't like the fact that TikTok is currently being used by the Chinese, I'm sure, to gather data. And I even used to be for the banning of TikTok if you look at some of my previous videos back in 2021. However, things have changed. Things have changed because now we know that media is so controlled and so censored that even allowing an international presence of a media giant to be here allows Americans to have an avenue in which they can at least speak a little bit more freely and not be subjugated by the current media status quo. RFK Jr. has often brought this point up. He sued the federal government because some of his own speech was being limited by certain intel agencies in collusion with these mega tech platforms. TikTok, of course, has its own limitations, but in each different social media avenue, they are all limiting free speech in a different way, which means you can kind of navigate those waters. But here's what's once again so ominous is all of this banning of TikTok really has nothing to do with the protection of American citizens. It has nothing to do with the protection of your data. We know that. Just like Facebook sharing your messages with Netflix, it has everything to do with political power in the 2024 election. This was also shown in some recent articles about some people being actually scared of the TikTok ban because it would empower Twitter. Twitter is probably the only free speech social media avenue, or at least the freest speech social media avenue that we have currently. If you take TikTok out of the picture, Twitter quickly becomes number one. It's just a fact that other social media platforms are not able to keep up with the algorithms and the usership of Twitter and TikTok. Or I keep saying Twitter, I know it's X. I don't know why people still call it X though. I feel like Twitter's a better name. All that to be said is it's no coincidence that Elon is using Twitter himself almost as an election tool. He is promoting free speech, which is allowing certain ideas to be spread that aren't being spread on any other platforms. And you can see a lot of that around different issues such as healthcare and the war narrative currently going on overseas. So what is the actual goal of Facebook and Netflix sharing their data? How might that be practically used? A lot of you may or may not know this, but you each do have a profile on you when it comes to not only marketing data, but political data. There are applications out there that can track how many times you voted, not necessarily who you voted for, but you can do some association by if you're a Republican, which can be tracked, and if you voted in, say, the past 5 elections. If I know that information about you and I can track your messenger data, your private messages that you've been sending, and feed you information on the television, I can actually slowly over time try to get you to believe something that you may or may not know to be true. And that happens all the time, whether on purpose or by accident. As our world continues to be run by more and more sophisticated algorithms, it's no doubt that Netflix will start to begin to pioneer some of those strategies and try to up their propaganda game. One of the most recent popular Netflix produced movies was Leave the World Behind, which was kind of a very odd movie, but a lot of people miss the fact that that was actually produced by the studio the Obamas own. So what's the message there? So the key thing that you have to remember is anytime there is a bill going to be passed to regulate social media, and as you see people claiming that is to protect Americans, and anytime you see governments saying they're doing something to protect Americans, you should already be skeptical. But in this 2024 season, specifically when it comes to censoring social media, you should keep in mind that it all has to do with the presidential election and what information is allowed to be talked about. TikTok for some is a dangerous tool because it allows for instant news media. Within seconds, videos can be posted, well-done videos can be posted, well-done research can be posted, and go viral online before media can do anything about it. The same is said for Twitter. So in conclusion, as you go over different media headlines, you're going to see a lot of different news and a lot of different propaganda about TikTok being bad, while completely not mentioning the things other social media companies are doing, like sharing your data and bartering deals like Netflix and Facebook. But just know that this kind of stuff is happening all the time, all around you, and it's happening by every large corporation, such as Amazon, Apple, Google, what have you. And so anytime a social media company like Twitter or like TikTok, or even individuals like Elon Musk are being singled out for a regulatory purpose, just know that really it has nothing to do with protection and safety and everything to do with the upcoming election.